Going in. Right, welcome to anyone who's just jumping on the live stream. We try tonight, guys, to make the live on various channels, but we couldn't pull it off. So we'll just wait on here another minute or so for people to jump on. How you doing anyway, Rosie, mate? You're doing a good, brother?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate.
Good.
Good.
How we doing, Blaine, mate? All right?
Yeah, I'm steady, mate. You good?
Yeah, all good, brother.
I noticed Rosie's got a bit of a goatee going on.
Has it? Yeah, do you know what?
You know what I mean?
I've got a bit of a chin strap down, you know, down in the bottom here. This is for the viewers to have a laugh at. But round here at the bottom, he's gone way too short. And I've got a bit of a insecure bald patch at the bottom there.
You know what? I get that as well, right underneath, literally, like, just about there. Literally. Crazy. Although I've started noticing on this side, I've started going grey. You know, if I get a full beard now, I start to getting grey. So,
Honestly, like I'm just a bit like annoyed when he does that to me, because when my beard grows, it's actually all right, but it's this little patch here. I think Rich, actually, one of the Light Boys, Rich mentioned it one time, and I was like, yeah, thanks for that, Rich. But for the viewers who are jumping on, we are currently running 2 events right now. We've got tonight here on the live, we're going to be talking about Mental Health Week awareness. We've just had it. It's literally come to an end this evening, and we thought it'd be really good to come online tonight and just jump straight on it, chat it, dissect it, bring some thoughts, bring some encouragement for you guys who are watching on the live right now. Yeah, I just want to pick our brains really tonight and have a good chat about it, because I don't want it just to die off as something for sure. And I was just thinking, firstly, lads, how has your week been? Because I think a lot of the time we can just jump straight into things and not actually check in how we're doing. So, Rosie, how you been, brother, this week? All right?
yeah, it's been a bit of a weird week. You know, kind of with it being Mental Health Week, kind of tried to be positive with work. Been quite a busy week this week with lockdown lifting. Seem to be getting a lot more increase in my workload.
Yeah.
So.
What do you do anyway, Rosie? For the viewers, what
so temporary accommodation officer for a local authority.
Brilliant.
To like bed and breakfasts and work alongside the council doing liaising about Section 21 evictions and various other bits and bobs, rough sleeping, that kind of stuff.
Brilliant, mate. That's really good of you, bro. And any blokes that you see like regularly who are struggling with their mental health, or do they mask it quite well, or is it quite noticeable?
Masking. I think, to be fair, at the minute everyone's masking. People that I've seen, they don't really want to acknowledge that they've got mental health problems. They're quite a closed book.
Yeah,
open, they're quite closed.
And I think that's part of our struggle, boys, isn't it? On here, when we're trying to just, I don't know, like give lads an opportunity and a platform to open up and to see where they're at in their head. I think that's the trickiest thing, isn't it? It's getting men to talk, and there's nothing sexy about it, really, is there? It's a bit of a slog, but we'll keep going. But yeah, thanks for that, brother. Well, I'd like to talk to you more about that tonight at some point. And Blaine, how you doing, brother, tonight? All right?
Yeah, I'm all right. My week's so I was isolating again this week.
No way.
Yeah, so with the outbreak kind of at the secondary school, it then filtered into the primary school that I work at. So
no.
So that was my 5th time isolating this week. So
in how long?
Came out on Saturday. So yeah, quite a interesting week, but kind of used to having to isolate now, because like I said, my 5th time. So I was left a list of jobs about this long from the missus to do, so I tried to stagger them out throughout the week to keep me busy.
To be fair though, that's one of the 5 parts of healthy well-being was active, wasn't it? So she kept you active, brother. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Doing the old job
apart
painting
from
and
that,
the.
yeah, doing all right.
Well, that's good to hear, mate. Yeah. So to answer the question as well for myself, because I was about to just like move on now.
Oh, you? Yeah.
No. I said it earlier. So for the viewers, we have a private men's Facebook chat group. There's over 500 men in there. It's steady, and I was just encouraging them to go tonight to our enlisted open men's chat group. So that's currently on Zoom as well. So we're holding 2 things right now tonight for people. And that's for more of the group of men where there's a tight-knit community of blokes who are just struggling. And yeah, we're just trying to plug them in, signpost them to access that chat and that service. And as I was doing a video for that to encourage us to get that way, I actually stopped for a minute to answer that question. And I thought, yeah, I'm about 5 out of 10. I'm quite tired at the minute and working hard. And yeah, it's quite tricky. Only 1 day off today. So from work, back on the grind tomorrow, lads. But yeah, I'm all right because I'm sipping on my Yazoo underrated milkshake, by the way. And we're not paying for any sponsors.
Prefer Fuji.
Do you?
Ones. Yeah.
Ooh. What about a stirred next quick in the powder version?
No, because you get the bubble, you get the bits, you can't get the bits
at
out.
the bottom.
Yeah, it's like
the chocolate one's the worst for that, isn't it? Strawberry, it's not that bad. It just you stir it and it's gone.
And then you get the floaters at the top.
So true. But lads, tonight I'm quite passionate. I've got a few fiery things on my heart tonight about mental health awareness week, and I'm just gonna hold back a little bit and kind of just not go there straight away. But so for the viewers, the 5 steps of well-being that in like the shallows we focus on, and a lot of people all over was focused on was connect. The other one was to be active. The third one was to learn. The 4th one was to take notice. And the last one, which I've missed out. Which one have I missed out?
Give.
That was your one actually for the post this week.
Yeah,
Definitely. So is there any one of those, lads, that stands out for you this week? Anything that you feel like it jumped out at you, that you practice, that you want to encourage the viewers and equip and skill them up as they're watching this tonight potentially, or you know they might be jumping the live as it's already been out and recorded?
I think for me there's maybe 2 more, and they probably jump out because I can relate to them more than the others. With the active one and the give one. To be honest, I think the points that were raised for both of them, I could relate to them. And in certain times when, you know, you might be stressed, you might be feeling a bit down, you might be feeling a bit crap, going and having some kind of exercise or getting active or giving yourself that break that you need, or giving yourself that time to reflect on certain things kind of helps you put things into perspective, or just to relieve that, or to have a break from those thoughts. So I think they're the 2 that stood out for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I've had a really tough week as well. So I had a pre-op for the surgery that I'm having to do with fertility. And it's been a really, really tough 4 years of that and processing it. And even now, like having the pre-op, having to go through like the last 4 years to the doctor and bringing it all up, you know, and then him like basically covering his own back, rightfully saying, well, if we do this, it can't guarantee that you'll have a baby and all that. So, and what I did, boys, was I've had to push through because naturally I just wanted to just curl up in darkness and just like not talk to anyone, not do anything. But no, there's an opportunity to be active. So there's a bunch of fellas I know from a church that I'm connected to, and they have like a little power league once a week, little 5-a-side. So yeah, I literally was like, I need to push through and just get out and do it in the evening. So yeah, I relate to that a lot.
And I think that brings into the connect side of it as well, on the mental health, kind of connecting with friends, connecting with people, kind of pushing through the connect side of it as well, and doing something that you enjoy.
Yeah, and do you know what? We talked about this on was it the 𝗬𝗵𝗱𝗃 documentary that we all scrutinised and chatted really good about? I love that episode. So people check that out if you've got some time. But I really found that one of you said a really valid point. It might have been Jack, who's on the enlisted tonight. He said that sometimes it doesn't have to be every single mate that has to have that deep conversation or that real like grind it out of you, like, are you okay, like, are you really okay, and have that deep chat of how you're struggling. He also said that actually he prefers that some friends are not that way and it's kind of light-hearted. And I think that day on Thursday I'm alluding to with the fertility stuff, I didn't want that conversation. I had quite a lot of people, I'm really grateful, who wanted to ask if I was all right, asking how it went, and I just didn't want to talk about it. I wasn't ready to. And so, yeah, I just needed that active and that just playing football. Although I was a little bit mardy, I wasn't myself. Like everyone else around me, like it's not a high level football. They were just being stupid, just having a bit of a laugh, and lots of laughter going on in tackles and stuff. And I just thought, yeah, this is exactly what I needed then and there. So that's the beauty, I guess, of these 5 things, is you can pick and choose, can't you? Like Blaine's picked his 2 about giving and being active. So yeah. And before we go to you, Rosie, I want to ask Blaine something as well about what you said about giving. What is it that does to you in your head and in your heart to encourage the viewers? Because it can be you can get quite stuck, can't you, if you're on a downer? So can you encourage our viewers, brother, with anything that's happened to you, or an example?
I think it's more of like, you get so wrapped up in, whether it's work, hitting targets or hitting deadlines, or, if it's coursework that you might be doing at sixth form or college or university, or, you're doing another qualification at work, and you get so wrapped up in it, or you get so wrapped up in your social life, and you don't give yourself that time to reflect. And actually, sometimes when you do step back and you give yourself that break, you can actually look from the outside in of all the things that you've achieved and all the things you can be grateful for, to then actually go, yeah, I'm doing all right. Like, I think sometimes you put so much pressure on yourself to, like, what's the next thing, what's the next target in life, where do I want to go? And you forget the journey and how far you've come and where you've started. And actually, you've come a long way, but you don't realize that when you're trapped kind of on that journey. Sometimes you can stop, take a step back, and just assess everything that you've done, and actually realize, like I said, yeah, you're doing all right. You are on the right path, but doesn't do any harm in putting the brakes on and giving yourself some time to reflect on things. And also you can kind of have a look where you want to go next. That path might take a sudden turn and you go off on another journey, or it leads to other things.
Yeah. It's a really good point. I think sometimes with mental health, when you're buzzing, it's great, but when you're struggling and you're gonna, like, ill mental health, it almost skews your perspective slightly.
It was like, sorry to interrupt. So
yeah,
like, with this week with being in isolation, I was so wrapped up in work and feeling a bit down about it, and actually having this week off work turned out to be a blessing for me, because I actually had a look and thought, well, what is the root of the issue? Why am I at this moment in time unhappy with work? And the thing that I was unhappy with, that had related, or that was linked to something else, which I hadn't even thought of. And by taking that step back, reflecting on that, finding actually the root cause of the issue, I've now solved that problem by having a conversation. And now I'm going back to work tomorrow and I'm thinking, yeah, I can't wait to go back. Like, I'm buzzing, because I was given that time to take the step back to realize actually what was at the root of the issue. And I was thinking it was, other people, etc. But actually it wasn't. There was a root cause for that. Yeah. And it linked to other things.
That's
I've
what
also
I like.
got to be careful with kind of what I say, so I can't
Yeah,
go
yeah.
into
That's
issues
what I
and
like
things,
about you as well. You've said this before, how when you're playing football, like you get dead aggy and you start blaming everyone, and then you're going, oh, actually, it might be something deeper. Like, and you say you've assessed yourself, and you're like, you're checking yourself.
Well, when I've been at work, I've been solely focused on, well, you know, that is the issue. But because I had the week off and I wasn't actually involved in the bubble this week, I actually got to the root of the problem. And actually, by talking about it to the person that I needed to talk about, the issue was nowhere near as big. And I suppose you can relate that to mental health in the sense of, if you start to open up and offload onto people, and once you then get talking, you realize, oh, actually, yeah, you can get through it. The answers are there by having that conversation.
Definitely. And I think sometimes by ourselves, we don't mean to do it, but we kind of like make something bigger than it is sometimes. And I'm not saying all the time, and I'm being very careful with my words here, because sometimes we can invalidate people's experiences, and then they invalidate it, and then it gets shoved down. But yeah, just a little bit of reason, isn't it, through having a little chat like that? That's massive for sure.
And I think some of the times as well, we overanalyze and overthink. Our thought processes, we overthink and overanalyze situations are a lot worse than they actually are. And I think sometimes,
true, isn't it?
Kind of couple of days to kind of just go, oh, hold on a minute, and take a step back, like Blaine said. You know, you take a step back, think, right, I can logically think now.
Definitely. And I think sometimes, me personally, I overthink sometimes. Sometimes I like block it out. Like, it's finding that happy medium, isn't it, lads? Like, sometimes I overthink it, and then I go to the other end of the extreme, and like I just leave it and like just go no, like push it down. So it's finding that happy balance, isn't it, where we can kind of rationalize something. I guess it links to something that I came up with right in the first few months of Enlighten, about 10 months ago. The acronym ACT, that it's time to act, and the A is to acknowledge. So that's like what we're just talking about, is to actually go, yeah, this is where I'm at, I see this is happening. The C is to comprehend. So that's actually start thinking about and breaking it down, so you actually thinking about it, and then you can make a stringency plan, can't you, to take the action, which is the T, or take ownership over those feelings or thoughts. And I think some people like abandon that last bit. Like they think about it, but then it like kind of paralyzes you, doesn't it? And then it really has a grip on your mental health, and then you're frozen for X amount of time. And yeah, really passionate about that, is trying to set men free, to see them kind of implement that ACT in their life. I feel like we need to, I guess, from the front, stress that mechanism a lot more, because it's so powerful. I don't know how I came up with it. I did. It's just so basic, easy to remember, and actually it can set you free if you try and live by it. But definitely, Rosie, you said quite some good things, but what were your out of your 5
two this week? Yeah, this week.
Yeah.
Connect and be active. So whereas before literally in the last couple of weeks, I've been quite active and getting out for walks during my lunch. So I've actually been taking myself away from my work and having that half an hour, 40 minutes during lunch to go, right, I'm not doing any work. So that I'm not getting bogged down with this stuff and then letting it fester. So with Connect, I've kind of connected out to people that I've not spoken to before, and kind of gone, look, you know, here I am, talk to me as well. So I've been kind of connecting with people that I think are struggling, and then kind of trying to create a friendship group through them as well.
Yeah, and something came to my head as you were saying that, and it was a word you disconnected to go, but I went, no, that's like a negative connotation. That's a negative word or a practical implication. It's like you connected elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, this, like I say, this week I was quite selfish a little bit, because I kind of did take that 30-40 minutes for myself and extended lunch breaks. I thought, do you know what? I've got flexi time that I can use. So I'll kind of make that and have an extra 20 minutes on my lunch break, just so I can have a quick walk around the block, or actually get out of the office, or get out working from home, and just have that sort of time just to go and sit and do something for myself, which has helped a lot massively.
Amazing.
I think.
That's so good. I think that's a practical step that our viewers can take as well, is that actually, you know, we don't have to stay connected to that one person or that activity for an excessive amount of time where it becomes toxic for us. Actually, it can, you know, we go, right, I'm not going to connect to this no longer. I'm going to connect to this instead. It's that self-awareness, isn't it? And, you know, even having this conversation, it's actually making me think out loud and go, I need to do that a bit more, where I could say no to things. And I go, right, I'm not connected to this anymore. I'm connecting to myself and having a break and some time out.
And I think we also, like say, you know, sometimes we do need to be selfish to kind of get ourselves back on that track and be kind of saying no, rather than keep saying yes. It's better to say no in your own of mindset to get them sorted and move on. Because if you keep giving yes, you're not at your full best to perform.
Which is interesting, isn't it? Because we talk about giving, and giving's class. Like it can make you appreciate the things that you have, and it gives you that absolute buzz if you help someone and give someone. But sometimes, like, we're taught that you have to give, and actually it's good to be selfish sometimes and connect.
I mean, like I say, I do feel quite a lot better for not kind of working, because like yourself, I work constantly and try and get stuff done and please everyone. That sometimes it doesn't think. That's this week I took that decision to be selfish and take time for myself to then have that better quality of week. Because literally I've come into the weekend feeling a lot more refreshed than I would have done, say, previous jobs. So it kind of worked, I think. But we'll soon see in the next couple of weeks when I get a bit more into it and stressed and pulling my hair out and
I've got a really sick idea. I was going to wait for our team meeting, but I'll share it live on camera. So it's inspired from a video I've already seen. This geezer got like a what looks like a big ball pit, but I think you can get like do you know like a garden outdoor swimming pool, like a hexagonal one, and he filled it full of those ball pit balls in the middle of like a city center in America. And he literally like just set it up randomly in the middle of the city on people, so people were on their lunch break. And this is like back to what you said about being connected and connected to yourself, away from things that are too much. Interesting that a few people were hesitant and like walking by and going, but there was a curiosity to it. And he literally said, do you want some time out to have some fun? And they were like, what? And he's like, yeah, just come jump in the ball pit with me. And literally, like, people were jumping in this massive like ball pit with these ball pit balls, and like, just, you see it, they just switched like that. They were out of work serious mode, and then you could see the stress being relieved from them, and they were laughing their heads off. And I thought that would be sick if we did something like that.
COVID after restrictions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They would be sick, wouldn't they, if we could do that?
Middle of Slab Square in Nottingham.
Yes, mate, all day. They would be class. Literally, people would do it as well. People would do it. It'd be brilliant. I think it's important to, have a bit of fun and switch off from work sometimes, for sure. But no, so a theme that's coming up here, lads, I feel, is like being self-aware of where your head's at. And I read a quote today by Jordan Peterson. And it said, slay your dragon while it's in its lair before it comes to your village. So I'll say that again. It's deep, but it's short. But if you think about it, so it says, slay your dragon whilst it's in its lair before it gets to your village. And I was like, ooh. And my one was to take notice. And interesting, that was one I had to post on. But a lot of the take notice is like an outward take notice, which is what we're massively about, isn't it? And like we want to equip and skill people to be your brother's keeper, almost, to say, look, I'm here for you. Are you feeling like you want to take your life, and signposting them? But actually, it's taking notice of yourself, which is what we've just said. And when I saw that quote of Jordan Peterson, like, kill the dragon whilst it's in its lair before it gets to your village, I was like, wow, yeah, that's like nipping it in the bud early. And it goes back to like just taking notice of yourself. And Are there any things that you boys can advise to our viewers about taking notice of anything, like any signs, physical, mental behaviors, things that you do or say?
I mean, I think for me personally, I mean, this is obviously personal. I can't speak for everybody else, but, you know, there's things, signs to look out for. You know, you're neglecting yourself, you know, you're not eating properly, you kind of snack eating, you're eating junk food all the time, kind of thing. So that's kind of one of the things I noticed recently, like probably during lockdown, I was eating lots of crap, to put it bluntly. And, you know, I was eating takeaways, Krispy Kreme donuts, as you boys know, and Greg's. And then kind of gone from like kind of working then now to kind of eating a lot more healthy. And that's that's a change of attitude and the change of job, which kind of helped a little bit. Because I think if you get stuck in a rut with a like job that you kind of want to do your best, but then you get stuck, it's time to move on and then kind of have a more positive attitude.
I think they work in hand though, because if you're feeling shit, then your diet will then have it, or it will have an impact on your diet. So like you say, you will go to comfort eating, but then sometimes you can get in a rut of comfort eating, which then makes you feel bad as well. So I think they can both.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. That's a really good point. Just seeing on our live if we've got any. We've got a few comments that have come through that I should have looked at. So we've got any advice on how people can open up, as that can be a biggest block? Any advice on how we can open up, as that can be a biggest block? So we've got a couple of questions coming in. So that's one of them.
I think it's knowing who you would open up to in a way. Like you said, I think Jack, you mentioned it when Jack hit the nail on the head. Like you might have certain friends that you'd speak to certain situations about. But for me, I find it quite easier, or a lot easier, to offload to maybe somebody that I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think it's knowing kind of who you would offload to, and then I think then how you go about it is a different, you know, would be completely different. I think first you need to know who you would open up to, and depending on the situation, that might be somebody different.
And it almost links back to what we've just said about that self-awareness and taking notice of yourself, because a lot of people might actually be denying it, so that they're not even allowing themselves the opportunity to open up. Does that make sense? So it's like they're kind of self-aware about it, but they block it out instead of taking the options to think about, right, I need to find someone I can talk to, whether it's anonymous with a stranger or a well-trusted person. They like deny themselves the opportunity to open up. So they like mug themselves off, basically. So yeah, I guess my answer would be exactly as Blaney said. What I would add onto that is not denying yourself and robbing yourself the opportunity to actually have that conversation, in denying your own feelings and in denying your own behaviors and the little flashing red light. So, you know, Stevie said the dieting. So like you might be having some bad eating habits. You're not sleeping very well. You're not bothered about exercising. You haven't met up socially with friends. Your hygiene's going down the pan.
I think with that as well, you know, obviously we don't know, or you know, but me and Rosie don't know who it is that's wrote that message. But if that's somebody who's
really struggling, or
really struggling, obviously they can open up to enlighten through the social media side of it, with obviously us then being there to support them as well, because not everybody has got somebody. Have they might not have that friendship circle, they might not have that family around them, they might not have that support network. So,
and they can just drop us a message on Messenger and we can pick it up, and it's all secure and safeguarded, and it's only us guys within the team that see that message, and we can chat to you if you want to chat to us more.
That's class. And so because this isn't a produced episode as normal, the live is a bit trickier, guys, for us to get on the screen all our information. And that's one thing we're going to grow into for sure in the coming months. We're going to start enabling software where we can just put stuff on the screen and you don't just see this Zoom 3 blocks of us fellas here. But to signpost you right now, so if that is you, if you're a fella that's watching this, whether it's this live or the actual live recording, if you go onto Facebook, you click on the little 3 people icon, which is the group section. So find groups and then literally just type in Light in the Shadows. That is where the magic happens, fellas. That's
with
where
that, Rory. So say one of our listeners, obviously they're saying, how do you open up that conversation? Sorry, I'm not having a rave, it's just my
it actually looked like you're
sorry.
Go with it.
But let's say that, you know, they are struggling and they want to approach somebody potentially in their family or a friendship group or a certain individual that they need help. How would either of you two, how would you start that conversation? Because that might be what they're looking for. They don't know how to initiate that conversation to start off with, which I suppose that's the hardest part, isn't it?
It's the first initial contact, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I think the first initial contact is kind of, even if they don't want to get deep into conversation straight away, even if it's just, is there any available to talk to, or can I speak to you about something, or just drop a kind of, I'm such and such and I need advice on this, then we can kind of open that conversation up.
Let's say they're not coming towards, they're going to do it with a friendship, with a friend or with a family member. How would you approach that?
Me personally, I would kind of, in a calm environment, and kind of sit down or kind of talk to some, literally in a calm environment, and get the person that I felt really comfortable with. So whether that be my partner, ex-partner, whatever, I would or family, friends, whatever, I'd have that calm environment and sit down and talk to them. Kind of say, look, I'm really struggling at the minute. Can you help me? That's how I would approach it.
For me, it goes back to what our last guest had on episode 31, Tony White, and I massively recommend people to watch it. She's very, very good at what she does in supporting men, and she said we need to blow out the window this whole reach out. So by what she meant by reaching out is asking people, putting the expectation on them to reach out, to call me, you know where I am if you need me, text me, you know I'm here for you. And so what we do is we don't realize how debilitated they might feel, or how overwhelmed they might feel and frozen to even go there, because they're just trying to survive. And we put an accidental onus or pressure on them to then find the words and the time, and as Rose said, the place to to open up. So that's like expecting you to reach out. But she said, flip it head, we need to reach in to them and this is why I'm encouraged, because this is what we're doing. Like, we don't have to sit here on a Sunday night with our time and go on a live on our YouTube to equip and skill people in this area. We could just chill out, but we're choosing to be on here. Jack and Rich have been on Enlisted, and you know, they're showing up, and that's the point. It's we're reaching in and saying, I'm here now, and if they're just there, if they're present, that's how we can start the conversation, by saying quite bluntly, like, hey up, really glad, make them feel loved and welcome, say buzzing that you joined us on here.
And the thing is, we're all fellas together at the end of the day. We've all been through experiences, life as we call it. You know, we've all got issues, we've all got backgrounds, and we all deal with things differently. You know, we're not immune, we're not superheroes, we all have emotions, but it's
sorry brother,
go on.
I was saying we've got another questions coming through. We've got one saying, what techniques help you to reflect? Because sometimes reflecting on things can be quite overwhelming. So like, what kind of techniques help us to reflect on things? It's a good question, that.
Very good question. I think, you know, personally for me, what helps me is kind of having time away from my own thoughts, getting away from things, you know, just doing something that I enjoy as well. You know, whether that be walking, going out, driving a car, going out, plane spotting, potentially. You know, that's my go-to sort of, if I get really kind of thing that I'll kind of just drive off somewhere and have 5-10 minutes, half an hour in the countryside, go for a little walk. And then that kind of brings me down a little bit, which is my go-to. But that doesn't work for everybody. You know, you've got to find your own niche that's going to help. Maybe obviously your hobby, you know, whatever you're into will be that niche to help.
I think for me is I can sit in the house and I can think about things. And like you said, Rory, sometimes I can overthink situations and make them 10 times worse.
Mm.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know what triggers it. But if I go for a run, all of a sudden I get 5 minutes into my run and I'm putting the world to rights. And it just, I don't know, it allows me to think clearer, kind of put a plan into place of what I need to do moving forwards, or so that's kind of, if I'm in that situation, that's what I'll do.
Yeah, that's good. I do this thing every day where I check in. So I've got to post 3 words that describe my day. I also got to post 3 things I'm grateful for. So that's a really powerful way of reflecting. For me, that works. I've seen it work in other people's lives. And it's quite tricky as well, because like it's 1 word, but that's great because there's no pressure to have to explain yourself in sentences or paragraphs. Some people, as we said earlier, don't have the words for it. And even that can be quite tricky when you come up with a word. Like I was in a stage a few weeks ago where it was like I was feeling mischievous, so I actually put it as like just mischievous, and it was like mad for a 32-year-old bloke. But it's really good because like you look back at it as well, and then you can look at your week and you can reflect overall. Like, you know, you can have a bit of a crap afternoon or something, but then you look back at your week and go, oh, hold on a minute, these are my check-ins of how I felt. You know, 5 times there's 45 words there, you know, within a Monday to Friday. And then you've got another 45 things or people that you're grateful for. Honestly, it's mad. I've gone from, in reflection, from going grateful for like literally oxygen itself, because I'm like, I've got nothing and I'm not really grateful for much right now, but I can breathe. So like oxygen's one, and then, you know, I strip it back, and just the basics. Sometimes it's like clean water, you know, hot shower, things like that, food. So yeah, for reflecting, that's what I do. Helps a lot.
Bubble bath.
Ooh.
Bubble bath.
I got a bath bomb for free the other week from one of my mates who runs this CBD shop, and I hadn't used it yet. So whoever has a bit of a stressful life or a job, maybe even a skin condition, struggling to sleep, let us know. Either message us on our Facebook page, DM us on Instagram or on Twitter. So our Twitter handle, guys, is at @𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I don't know if people can see. If someone wants,
I don't know if people can see. That's the private group. I don't know if people can see that.
Yeah, that's the picture. If you want to join the private group, nice one, Rosie, bro. But if someone wants to win a free bath bomb, unreal. It's a CBD one. It's lavender flavor. Gotta love a bit of lavender. Let us know. Get in touch with us. Make sure you follow us. Subscribe to this channel as well, and just let us know that you want it, and I'll arrange that for you. Yeah, bath bombs are brilliant. So yeah, in terms of reflection, guys, I hope that answers the question there. Steve, you're getting praised for one of your answers. Someone said, imagine cleaning the ball after every use for the ball pit idea. Like they're spraying, we'll be there till like midnight spraying the ball pit. Just like, oh yeah, COVID, mate. Oh, it's brilliant. In terms of is there anything else that you've got any thoughts or reflections about Mental Health Awareness Week generally? Because I've got a few, but I'm just going to sit back and let you boys go in if you want to and share some thoughts. But just this whole week, as it's gone by, as it might have flown by or gone quite slow for you, what are some takeaway thoughts for our viewers to discuss right now, do you think?
One positive or positive that I took from it is when you're scrolling through social media, especially Twitter, you could see a lot of people posting about it and raising awareness around it. So I thought that was really, really good. I thought that was positive. I just hope that it was posted with a purpose and not just for the sake of it. If I'm honest, I'll be completely honest.
I'm sorry, I'm smiling because like this is like where I'm gonna go in a minute. But carry on, my brother.
You know, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna. That's my. It was great to see that people were raising awareness around it. I just hope that they've done it with the right intentions.
See, I can echo your thoughts on that as well, Blaine, because I noticed a lot this week on my local authorities sort of social media interact thing and web pages. It was all about mental health, and our kind of head of HR literally posted daily to everybody across the organisation. Across the authority of like daily updates on mental health, and we should be taking this, that out, and we should be doing this, we should be doing that. And my employer have said that they're going to be fully supportive of people, which to me, that I got quite a positive of that the head of HR was directly messaging everybody, which, so I think having these conversations is helping loads of people.
Definitely.
Like you said, you know, it's, are people going to action that?
Yeah, I think this is a bit where I come in. Yeah, I'm with Blaney as well, and Rosie that's classed here, but Blaney, I saw that a lot on Twitter. I saw it on Instagram a lot, and you go, do you know what? Let's say glass half full on this. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Just the fact that it exists, that it's a hashtag, that people are posting about it, rightfully or wrongly. But the passion in me says it was a bit of a tick box exercise for people, and you know, despite they didn't have to post and they did, and that's a brilliant thing. I personally feel that people won't change. Businesses, corporations, entities, even individuals, like you'll have them posting it, but there's one thing posting it and there's one thing living it. And it's trying to help those people actually to cultivate it as a lifestyle. And it's not judging them saying, oh, you just post it for the sake of it. But I do genuinely feel there's a lot of tick box exercise going on. Like next week, you won't hear anything. You won't hear a thing about it until the next, you know, like in September, it's World Suicide Prevention Day and Week. And, you know, you have the yellow Mind have the Yellow Matters or whatever it is day in October, I believe. So it's just like that kind of thing. You're like, it would be great if we could just encourage people. Like even Tony, the last we had the last episode, she said not to be a cynic, but it's going to be quite refreshing to see those who are posting about Mental Health Awareness Week and actually they're treating people like crap still. And I was like, ooh, but hey, it's real though, isn't it? Like you're singing off a hymn sheet, but are you living by it? And I don't mind exposing it for what it is on here. Like this is our channel, boys. But and it's important we talk about this because I feel like on Twitter, as great as it can be, like people have these little themes that they go through, and I want to be careful that we don't get into the habit of like just joining on board with it for the sake of it, but actually, you know, like we wanted to do the live tonight and just break it down for people and provide a space for people to kind of like listen and grow into things if they want to. I don't know. I'm going to pause there because I feel like I'm sharing a lot there. But what are you boys saying? And we'll come to a couple more comments in the chat.
I agree. Yeah, I think sometimes people do it because they think it's the right thing to do, and I think a lot of them do it because it looks good on them. They're not actually doing it for the right reasons. I think they're doing it because it looks good on them and it looks like they're doing the right thing, and it's a tick boxing exercise. Not everybody. I think some people are doing it for the right reason, and I think there's more people out there that are doing it for the good. And I think we should probably focus on that more. But
and the bad apples that kind of just do it for done and kind of go, look at me, we're fantastic, mindful, we do this for each individual, whatever else. Because again, I've worked for organisations that have kind of gone, oh yeah, we're big on this, but don't follow it through. So,
but that's why we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
We got to expose.
Actions speak louder than words, don't they? So
correct. Yeah.
Call it out for what it is. Like, this is in light in the shadows, putting light into the darkness, man. Like, if people are in the darkness and tick boxing and under the guise of mental health, and actually, they're posting about, oh, mental health matters, mate. Take notice, and then like 2 months down the line, they're treating like some of their employees like crap. What's that? Take notice. You've just gone in all guns blazing, criticizing them without actually asking a genuine question, like, oh, is everything okay with you? Like, is things at home all right? It's just like going in. It's just little things like that. And I think it's Matt. I think people need to hear that. Like, I don't want us to be a channel that's all like prim proper and PC, because actually these things happen. Like,
there's multi kind of organizations, like, obviously myself I work for, and obviously Rory works for, and probably Blaine and everybody else, that we get really good employers, but then sometimes we get really crap ones that kind of don't give it. They're just more worried about performance and kind of profit.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly, mate.
And it shouldn't be that way. And this is why we kind of need to speak out and say, do you know what? We're challenging this, and this is what we're doing tonight.
Definitely. And that's awareness in itself. I think it is. Like, the fact that we're saying, well, we're not naming names, we're not naming our own employers, we're just saying, generally speaking, like, we know for a fact of things and of people and circumstances where they're giving it the big one, but actually they don't support their staff properly, or people aren't treating their friends or family in a way that's accepting. It's just like, it's all on their terms.
Yeah.
Or they're uncomfortable because, I'm calling it what it is now, because you've changed, meaning you've come to more acceptance of your mental health, and it's perceived as a bit of an odd thing because it's not the British way, right? And then makes them uncomfortable because you're making those changes.
And I think also it's like, kind of like, when you get that phrase "man up," when you kind of stick a sticky plaster on it. Well, we shouldn't have to stick a sticky plaster on it and man up. We should be able to have to talk about our emotions. And I think, we go back, I think I've said this before previously in different episodes and different things, that from an early age, from primary school, kind of, we need to be talking to males about their emotions and saying it's okay to talk, so then later in life, it doesn't screw you up. Because I know when I was at school, it screwed me up, like, kind of primary school, I wanted the comfort, the love, everything else, and I didn't get that. What's the
matter with you? Come on, stop crying. You're all right.
Yeah, it's like kind of a bit of a band-aid, wet paper towel moment, isn't it? When you graze your knee, it's a bit like that, get up, man up, clear off sort of thing.
It's true. And that's what episode 31 was titled, Men and Emotions. Tony was saying, like, men, we're raised, this is all mental health awareness, by the way. It's getting to the root of it. It's even better than just going, oh, give and help people. This is like really getting to the nuts and bolts of it. We're raised and cultivated. It's better right now, trust me, because I know Blaine works in primary school. I worked at primary school that are phenomenal at it in Nottingham. There's still more work that needs to be done, where we're accepting boys to be in touch with their emotions, so that obviously it doesn't set up screwing them when they're older and bottling things up. I think in itself, is helping people for sure.
Yeah, but so do you think that's the responsibility of the school, or do you think that should come higher up and it should be compulsory that it's taught in schools? Because I know the school that I work at, phenomenal at it. We've got, I think that should be a national in the school that is kind of solely their role of well-being of families and children within the school.
Yeah,
fantastic. You go in, how many other primary, infant, junior schools, secondary schools have got that? I don't know the answer, but not all schools have got budgets for that, and their priorities are different. So is it down to the schools, or is it down, or should that come from higher up? Should that come from the government?
I mean, I think it should be a national government-led scheme. personally, it should be kind of on national curriculum that people are taught kind of social, emotional and physical needs. Kind of, because to be fair, I think that would be the bit when kind of they get to secondary school, it's kind of the bullying aspect or whatever. I mean, even primary school.
What they would say with that is, oh, you know, that's covered in your PSHE lesson.
Yeah.
Well,
which is crap, because
they
you get to choose it.
They might have one lesson, two lessons, a couple of lessons a
Exactly.
year. And
there should be this like lead time.
They might have. Yeah. So that's again box ticking for me.
Yeah.
Well, we're due a meeting actually. This is good. This is on live. I love this. This is mental health awareness. Let's get into the root of it. So I've just said, but then there's talking about it and doing something about it. So I'll be frank right now. We're due a meeting with those Nottinghamshire MPs that we built a rapport, that first meeting earlier this year. We're due another quarterly meeting with them. The only reason I haven't submitted the dates to them is coming up with a really strong agenda where we're coming to the table with something that's actually got a strong necessity to it. And I think we've got something here, lads. Genuinely, I think there needs to be a specific framework that the government highly, I say advise, if not, like you say, because you can get away with it, whether it's compulsory or not. In terms of social emotional intelligence, because it works. We've seen it work, and we've seen as we've got older and implemented these things in our lives, it helps. And so, you know, why not? I think it's something to talk about in the next meeting and bring it to the MPs and say, look, we want to sign a petition, and we're serious about this. This needs to happen. Just quickly.
And I also think as well, it's not just about males as well. I think also females need to be taught this as well in schools. I think across the board, as primary school kids need to be taught about the emotions. Yes, focus on the males, but we should also be focusing on primary school children, full stop.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because girls stay quieter socially over boys. Boys and their testosterone and their behaviours manifest. And this is classic. We saw it a lot in one of our schools. We had a lot of withdrawn girls that actually had some real strong emotional needs and attachment needs that needed a lot of support.
And likewise,
they were ignored because the boys got the headline because their behaviours were manifesting most, but the ones that were in submit and freeze, they were withdrawn. They were just ignored slightly. It wasn't on purpose, but because the behaviours were priority to keep people safe. But as you've exactly said, Rosie, it's girls as well.
We experienced it in children's services as well, Rory. You know, when we saw, without naming names and whatever else for data protection and safeguarding, you know, we saw it full stop, didn't we? Especially with some of the teenagers we worked with.
Absolutely. Oh, we got some good comments. So you can use Mind Journal for the depth of reflection. I've used Mind Journal, so check that out, guys. Mind Journal, they're brilliant. Just type it in Google, Mind Journal. I've used it. I blessed a lad with it. He was buzzing from it. So that works, and it's really good. We've broke that down in an episode, Mind Journal. I believe it was episode 10 with Rich Smith, I think. So check that one out. Another comment through. Sorry. So
also colouring, pattern. You can get those books with like
adult colouring books.
Mindful colour. Is it mindful colouring? Is that right?
Yeah, like literally like shapes that you can colour in and different. It's kind of like you colour in and it's really good.
I'm just looking on my bookshelf, lads, because I know I've got a few things we're talking about. It'd be sick to get them out now. No, it's not. There must be under the table. But yeah, adult colouring books are sick. Highly underrated. Mental health awareness is more than just a week. People need to be aware of it 365. Absolutely right. Have schools got the right resources to do that though? Because it could be like opening a can of worms that they're not having the right people in to support the kids, as such as the psychology, which is a really good point, because it's all about the staff training awareness. You can bring it in a curriculum, like the government say, right, you must do this, but this is not anyone's fault, but some of the staff might have a clue, and they might be authoritarian and disciplinarian, where they just like go, well, they're just being naughty.
Like I say, I mean, I don't want to slate certain teachers, but certain teachers are fresh out of university with no life skills. And I don't mean that nastily, but because they've come out of straight from training into teaching kids, there's that, like you say, bring it back to it's about training. and no real life experience. I think somebody that's got life experience can kind of deliver these training sessions. It's all good and well getting a teacher to do it, but I think a teacher with life experience rather than a teacher that's just fresh out of university with.
This is obviously.
Yeah, I know. So I don't want to slate anyone in particular. Do you know what I mean?
For me, it should be a separate role within a school. Not a teacher, not a teaching assistant, not a midday, not an office staff, not a head teacher, not a deputy head teacher, not a PE teacher.
Yeah. So like emotional well-being,
a specialised role within a school, and that, depending on the size of the school, depends on the hours of the job, whether it's a full-time job, whether it's a part-time job. It would depend on the size of the school, and like I say, have they got the resources for it? Have they got the funding for it? Maybe not, but if it was took serious, then I'm sure the money would be there.
I think it'd be about producing data. So
if you've got 4 or 5 infant, primary, junior schools in a certain area, a cluster of schools, could you have somebody that is over those 4 or 5 schools and does a day a week if the schools aren't big enough to employ somebody?
Pull resources together. Yeah, like a co-op.
Yeah,
different schools in the area. So say like you've got five schools in a catchment area, you kind of say, right, well, you do one school, each pays that person the 1 day salary for each day that they do in that school, and then do it together as a big co-op.
Depends how much money they got in the trust as well. Because that's how I got my role. I was a behaviour ambassador. It was like the weirdest role ever known. And budgets, without going too into schools, budgets are tight. Budgets are tight for school, but if you're wanting to get the message across about how important mental health is, and then the money comes from the government, doesn't it? That's what I mean. Well, we've got the connections. I think it would be coming up with the quantitative data that can factually prove that this stuff works. I think we could do it because I've got connections in schools and I've seen it work. A comment just come through. What age do you think that kids should start learning this kind of stuff? Like, so self-regulation, emotional intelligence.
Good question, to be fair.
Very good question. It's one into it because it's like too early and then they kind of don't understand, and then too late you've kind of then missed the opportunity to progress it.
But you think children are maybe not necessarily aware of they know if they're sad, they know if they're happy. Do they understand why they are sad at 4, 5, 6?
So I also think children.
I don't know the answer to that question, but having that support there for them to maybe help them understand.
Yeah, and I think children
have to be as at an intense level as maybe secondary school. No, maybe not, but they still need to be aware of those feelings. You think about that 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃 documentary, and they said the youngest person they had that phoned in was
11.
Yeah,
11.
10, 11, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's year 6. So I don't know the answer to that question, and everyone's opinion would be different. And would parents or guardians be happy with that being taught in their child's school at a young age? You don't know. So I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that one, but children are aware of their emotions at that age. It could be that there's a certain training for staff members at schools for a certain age, but then maybe when they go to secondary school, there is somebody that has a role within that school to do that job. I know there's kind of pastoral roles and things like that, but
but then they focus. I think they focus more on academic stuff, why failing, and kind of pastoral support rather than emotional and physical need, I think. But that's my experience anyway. But yeah, for every pastoral support person, but my experiences.
If you get to the root though, as in like if you start the bottom up, like, and when you're nurturing a child, like it's a seed, so to speak. If you're managing to get the right environment for them to grow, then you're not gonna have to worry about them dying out, like from, let's just be blunt, suicide. So if they've got traumas or adverse childhood experiences, they'll be able to communicate them within reason from an earlier age. Like it's more of a preventative strategy. So if you're, as Blaney said, if you get them in like, you know, F1, F2, so reception age, and you're just doing like basic emotions like happy and sad, angry, you know, what's the other one from the
you're about Inside Out?
Inside Out, yeah. Disgust, sad, happy and angry. Like if you just focus on that, F1, F2, as just basic dialogue of like drawing it, doing genuine facial expressions.
It's just something as simple as that. Say,
you know what I mean?
I know in the school we've got a picture of each of those characters in the classroom, especially, you know, at Key Stage 1. But like if they came in and they had their name on the wall, and when they first came in the morning, they put their name on one of those emotions, on how they're feeling. You don't have to speak to them straight away, but throughout the day, I noticed it. You know, you came in and you put your name on happy this morning. Like, why was you happy? Like, and it might be something as simple. Oh, I had my favourite cereal, or Dad wasn't at work early this morning, so you know, Dad brought me into school, or it might be on SADS. Oh, you know, I didn't have any breakfast this morning, or my sister got to pick what was on telly while I was having breakfast, or I got to bed late, or I was rushing around this morning. You kind of get to, you can have that conversation as an indirect conversation as such, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we had plenty of those at the school I worked at. Literally, like morning routines, massive. Like you could have a kid that would be like massively unregulated and kicking off, and it's just because actually they had a little argument with a sibling and they didn't get their breakfast, so they're hungry, literally. But they're that wound up, they can't even say it verbally. So this is such important stuff, because if we can get to a preventative strategy for the next generation, because as Tony White said, I've said it the third time now, right, representing to the last episode, but she said there's this like old demographic she's got, older, should I say, to be respectful, of men like, you know, 45 and over, 50, 60, and you know, they've been raised by their parents to never ever speak about how they feel or to look weak, and so then things catch up with them, so then they're struggling at where they're at in their life at this age. So thankfully things are getting better, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Like there's clearly an issue, you know, with young people and suicide and self-harm, which goes back to, you know, getting to the root of behaviors, which links to the 5 well-being steps which we talked about tonight. You know, if we can just keep pushing them now and then, I think it'll work. They're all, you can unpack each 5 steps with a lot of practical advice that we can dispense moving forward. So yeah, it's exciting. We've got a good year coming up, lads. We got our first birthday coming up next week. So for the viewers, us boys, we've got a videographer coming up from the south, a really good one. He's going to do some shots for us about what we do, the work we do, and us boys together. So I think I might be a bit sneaky here. I think next week, what we'll do for you guys is we'll have like a little backstage live. So next Sunday, the videographer is going to be following us around and taking shots, as I said. But afterwards, we're gonna have a little birthday bash at the pub. So what we might do for you guys, we might just have like a little 1-year reflection live on the spot. I'm putting the boys on the spot right now because I've just come out of it top of my head on camera now. But I think it'd be sick. So make sure that you join us on that. We might even decide to go Facebook live that time. I don't know. We'll decide, but we'll let you know, guys.
Haven't we got on that Jando's initiation as well?
Yeah, we have. Healthy initiation. I think someone else just put in the comments as well, because someone different's put a comment. It all starts at home. It's the parents' responsibility primarily, not the school. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. Like, it's your own blood child. You know, it's about taking ownership. You know, we talked about ACT, acknowledge, comprehend, and taking ownership or action. Like, ACT can be applied to everything: your mental health, your children, your friendships. So absolutely, thank you for that comment. It does start at home, and you know, it all filters out. If you've got a secure, not a perfect, but a secure home life.
But what about if they haven't?
Well, that's what I mean.
But I mean, with that
yeah,
emotional support, what about if they haven't? I know what they're saying. You know, that in a perfect world that would happen at home. But what about if it doesn't?
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right.
What support then has that child got?
That's where the conversation, as we described, with the school and the government making it compulsory. It has to, because it has to safeguard the child. Because
the thing is
they're at risk.
There's a lot of single parent families out there that kind of will struggle with this as well. You know, because obviously, say if there's mother or father have mental health issues, let's say that there is, you know, they're not going to get that attachment or emotional support from the parent. So then the next step in line would be the school.
Yep.
Get that, but it's about working in partnership with each other to get that support. I think.
Yeah, educating the parents. Another comment's just come through. Absolutely. Putting on workshops. I mean, the school are busy enough as it is. I mean, that I think we've talked about this, fellas, in the past, many months ago, that when we continue to grow as an entity, like as a preventative measure, although we're niche in men's mental health, absolutely, like you don't want to just be constantly responding to problems. It's about getting to the root of it. So
like you say, you just hit the nail on the head, in the sense that teachers or schools are so busy. They've got so much to pack into a day, a week. So that's that's kind of why I think it needs to be a specialised role, and it's not a teacher, it's not a TA. Their sole role within that school or that cluster of schools is that role.
Purely emotional well-being and kind of physical health well-being sort of person.
Health, like the health and well-being role, pastoral.
I think it's something we could deliver. Genuinely, I think we could put on a program for either a school and or parents, where we're skilling up the parents. Obviously, I'm speaking longer down the line for us, but you know, once we've got more of the resources and some of us boys are freed up a bit more, that's something we can definitely venture in, because we have got the skills and expertise, fact, to smash that. No questions asked, between us, amongst even the five of us on the team, and even people like Paolo as well, who's smashing PFIT right now, and he's took some time away to focus on that. Yeah, definitely. I think parents need the support too, as well, you know, as well as schools. I think that's where I guess this sector comes into the world and supporting people. But is there any more, just before we go, I just want to say, is there any more questions that anyone wants to put in the chat? Any thoughts from you boys? Because I've just announced it's our first birthday next week. I think we should do that. We'll have a little live, have a bit of a laugh.
Brits after party style.
Yeah, we'll have to get a helium balloon with a 1 on it. Get a birthday cake where you can pie me in the face or something. I don't mind, as long as it's rotated every year. But yeah.
What's that? Well, I'm going to say where we're going. There's some open water near there, isn't there?
Oh no, jump in the lock, the lake, the canal, the river. I won't say which one it is because then it gives away where we are.
I'm sure that's very safe.
Yeah.
Go for a paddle. Only go for a paddle. Sit on the bank and have a paddle.
We got to do. We'll celebrate the first birthday in style. Things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
It'd be good to have a bit backstage access for people to see what we're getting up to, and that'd be exciting. But I don't think there's any comments coming through the chat. I think we're landing it here. So yeah, lads, have you got any closing thoughts, any comments, anything you want to encourage the viewers with as we come to the end of this Mental Health Awareness Week, moving forward, or anything that stood out for you tonight?
I think personally, you know, if you are struggling, reach out, and you know, if we're if we're not available, there's always Samaritans, there's always, you know, Young Might, there's quite a few organisations out there that will support as well. And I think, you know, your best option to get help and support is to reach out.
Yeah.
You know, problems like spoken about is a problem halved.
Oh, who is it who said that?
Not quite sure. A very wise young man, I think.
Mr. Hancock down there. So that is the number, guys, for Samaritans, I believe. Yes, it is 116-123. That's free phone, as Rosie just said. But as we've described, the problem share was it Blaine? I can't get it right. What is it?
Problem share is problem half.
Hey, quick maths.
Yeah. I think also Samaritans do a text service as well. From now, I believe that they do a text service. So if you didn't want to speak, you can always text.
Yep. There's a text-specific niche mental health group called Shout. They are amazing. So Shout is, as Rosie said, it's a text service. So you need to text the word shout to 𝗵𝗵𝗁𝗚𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 necessarily given the words to say it. I guess that goes back to one of our things we talked about. How do we get people to chat? And that's another way. Text
thing as well, asking the listeners and the people that are part of the Facebook group, and is what, you know, if they've got any ideas of how we can support in other ways and help, then share them with us. If you think that there's something else that we could be doing to help and support people
that we're missing out on, and that we can accommodate, then we'll try our best to do that.
And when we say accommodate, guys, when you come up with a solution, come drive it yourself. Like, we'll give you permission. You know, we haven't got all the answers, as the lads have just said. And if you've got an idea, then we would like to give you maybe the space to run with it, because obviously we all have lives to live. We've got work. This is all voluntary. And, you know, we've got some cool things coming up this year. We're going to have a big partnership at the end of the summer. We'll be publicising that officially in the coming months. But yeah, we're passionate about growing and extending the olive branch. And if you guys have an idea of how that can be done better, let us know. Because we are transitioning, aren't we? I know we said we're going to go, but this is a really important point. We're transitioning now to more freedoms, and we're seeing, aren't we, boys? We're seeing that things are going a little bit quieter in terms of numbers, participation, and that's absolutely fine, because people are, you know, are getting out there again. They're socializing. Their work has picked up. But what that doesn't ever do is eliminate issues that might be underlying.
Masking it potentially.
Oh, there you go. So, you know, we will continue to show up. You know, people might not many people might not have been on enlisted tonight, but that's fine. We'll continue to show up. We're not going anywhere, and we need to stress that to any person watching this. We're going to keep showing up no matter what, because if it's for that one person, and if that off chance and we get discouraged and go, oh well, no one wants it, and then we just say, oh, we'll sack it off, and then there could be that one week where someone really needs it. And then we said we're here, but then we've turned our back. It doesn't make sense. So we're not going anywhere, guys. Oh, mate, you're getting called out on the chat here, saying that's an old saying about a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah, it is. It is an old saying. It is an old saying. I'm not.
But it's a class saying.
I said, when I had my interview, I said it, and you had never heard it before. And
no, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not taking the credit for it. So whoever it is, like, a little bit.
It's someone we know.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's Rich. He's saying it's from 1931 from the Morecambe Guardian. First person you saying it. Wow. Hey, that is some good research right there.
Typically Rich to come out with the origin of it.
Yeah, good study there, Rich. But I feel like we're done, boys. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Rich for putting me down. I was going off feeling really happy and put a downer on it. But yeah,
do you know what, Blaine? Do you know what? I bet you wasn't the first time. I bet you there was a guy who knew him, who knew someone who said that to him before. He just got the credit.
Yep.
We're still trademarking it as Blaine, though. Under
Yeah.
Enlightened Guys, it's your saying, brother.
Yeah, definitely.
That's your catchphrase, Blaine.
Definitely, all day long. But lads, thank you for tonight. Genuinely, I was a bit unsure about how this would go in terms of unpacking the week and whether it might have been like a 20-minute jobby, which would have been absolutely fine. But I've really enjoyed just hearing you boys' thoughts and just going really deep. I feel like we've come up with some real good talking points and some talking points that can create some actions as well. I don't think it's just like all hype and talk. I think we've got something special to move forward with for sure. So yeah, appreciate you guys coming down and logging on and spending time. Nice one.
Thanks, brother.
Right. Well, one of you want to signpost someone to the Facebook group, private Facebook group. Go for it.
Go on, Rosie. You're the man of the you're the Facebook man.
I'm social media Facebook, am I?
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah. So
it's like a Kevin Keegan speech, you know, when he's on about United. We'll go there, and I'll love it if we
love it.
give me something like that.
So it's an amazing group that we've got, like say, over 500 men on there now. You know, we're all supportive of each other. We all put daily posts on there. We all actively encourage each other. And sometimes, some days we get really kind of in-depth posts about things and we all cheer each other up. And there's days that we get absolutely class laugh and we get told off by Facebook. But hey ho, that's the life of it. But yeah, to join, you go into groups, type in Night in the Shadows, and it'll come up with a private group. Click join. You must accept it. I think it'll ask you a series of questions, and you just put I agree, and then you join. Otherwise, you won't get admitted.
Yeah, and so on that note, guys, someone had ignored. Like it's not even like a small little thing. Like the whole rules come up to safeguard people rightfully. The whole rules come up on your screen, and someone just didn't accept them and tried to come on. We're like, and then it was awkward because we as an admin team that had that before, everyone's like, yeah, of course I'll do that. And then this one person didn't, and we were like, well, what do we do with them? We can't like reject them because we've got open doors, but we can't accept. It was like a loophole. So yeah. Rosie, I love that. Do it again next week. I'll tell you, I'll come in here, Facebook, censor him, our banter. The next time we're gonna create our own platform one day, and I'd love it if we beat them. Love it.
Yeah.
One day.
No, I think, like I said, we have blokey chats on there as well and blokey posts, especially with certain things where obviously there were certain things that
only men can relate to.
Yes, male anatomy getting trapped. That was a post that got censored.
Yeah, it was a bit lame by them, but
yeah.
Blaney, if I want to connect on social media in terms of Instagram, Twitter, what do I do?
So am I right in thinking that in the search bar it's Enlighten there, sh1? Is that right? Yeah. Daily posts on Twitter. Very, very active on there. Instagram, there's always relatable posts going on, a couple a week at least. So yeah, go on the search bar, Enlighten sh1. And like I say, DMs are always open, and we're always there for the support if you need it, if you want to get in contact with us.
Yeah, smashed it. And the money is starting to come through now from Jack's marathon run. So watch this space, guys. We're going to be smashing out lots of free print, posters, cards, online advertisements and more. So we'll let you know about that. But guys, this has been sick. This has been live episode 3, Mental Health Awareness Week, with myself, Rory, Stevie Rose and Blaine Hancock. Boys, appreciate you. And I'll speak to you. I'll say soon. I'll probably